I want to talk about some stuff. If an alien were to visit this planet right now, they would swear that we are under a zombie apocalypse, with cities with cars burning um, and kids fighting over political beliefs. And I mean, it's one thing for adults to fight over political beliefs, but when kids start fighting over political beliefs, we have real problems, right? I don't agree with everything that um, other people do in other places. But if they're not affecting me and they're not initiating violence on others, then um, I need to kind of mind my own business. And the world has gotten to where it is because people care a lot, right? And that's a great thing. It's it's a sign of connection when you care about somebody else and you want what's best for them. But right now we're using violence to tell people what's best for them. Right? And that's nuts. I believe in free will because free will is the foundation of freedom. If you're not able to express your will the way you want to in your life for you with your rightfully acquired property, then you're not free. I live out here basically out here in the desert. The land was cheap and the road was horrible. I mean, it was it was a challenge, right? But I bought what I could afford because I didn't want to be living right next to somebody else and them telling me how to live. If I want to have a garden that doesn't look like everybody else's garden, I want to be able to do that. If I want to stack up some rocks and build a wall, I don't want somebody telling me you can't do that because that's not in the description of what's acceptable here. But what has become acceptable here? The harming of children, the harming of elders, the extortion of the masses. The importance of free will is that you have the right to control you for you, right? And the first this is how we can simplify things. We need to say time out, time out. We need to reset some things. And when we recognize that there is the first law of free will, and that makes you a dictator of you, right? The world becomes a dictatorship under free will, but not me over you, and not me and you over somebody else. You over you. And that's what creates freedom. And that's what gets the voluntary support of good ideas. Because um, if I'm just spewing a bunch of nonsense that you wouldn't want to listen to or align with your energy, your money, your time, the direction that you're willing to support, then you can just ignore me, right? And especially in this digital age, because I'm out here in the middle of the desert. I'm not really coming to you unless you're looking for me, right? You're looking for my content, or you're looking for an idea, and I'm sharing it with you, and I'm not being paid by anybody to do this. There's no incentive right now for me to make this video. the there is, I guess, well, no, I guess there is an incentive. I hope that people want to step into their individual freedom, because then they'll stop stealing from me, and they'll stop doing so many actions that are showing up in Facebook and on YouTube or on these platforms that these little boxes in our pockets can bring to us. If you look for all the good things, you can find those, right? And if you look for all the bad things, you can find those. You have to really look for the good, though, right? You have to look for the good. And you have to isolate yourself from all the bad, because at some point in time, if you watch enough of the bad, you realize that can happen to me too, right? And just because it hasn't happened to me yet, should I be willing to be quiet about it happening to other people against their consent? The first law being free will, the first violation of the first law being the theft of consent. We move into a voluntary society when we stop supporting the things that are outside of our control. That, well, we stop supporting the things that we wouldn't want to do that are within our control, right? When we work locally, we find efficiency, accountability, transparency. We find efficiency because that's the way nature works naturally, right? When the leaves from the tree fall down, they don't get shipped to Indiana as mulch. Right? I mean, that makes sense. I don't know what to say. I've been saying this stuff for a long, long time. We need to stop controlling other people. We need to stop recognizing someone as an idol or our leader or our ruler. It's great to have motivators or mentors, people who have an idea that they share it with you, and if you think it's a good idea too, you support it, right? We've got a lot of division, right? I mean, we've got like people hating on people because of the color of their skin. We've got people hating on other people because of the location they were born on the earth, and maybe now they've moved into a different location, a different geographic location to live, and they didn't ask permission. But we say, why do you dislike those people? We say, well, because they're stealing my health care, and they're stealing my jobs, and they're stealing my the welfare, and they're like, well, wait a minute, who's actually stealing that and then providing it to them, right? I mean, and the them, is that limited to somebody from a different country who's come here, or is a them those that aren't willing to work for themselves, right? Because we have a lot of people right here in America who are capable of working, but they choose to watch television. They choose to eat fast food instead of fasting from food to maintain their health. Choosing to sit on a couch instead of explore and walk through the trails and walk through the landscape and build things and create and feel better about themselves because they're not obesely experiencing life. Right? Anyway, it's really quiet out here. It's really quiet out here. You get a lot of time to think about stuff. Some people, they get time to think about stuff when they go to prison, but then you're probably worried about all sorts of stuff while you're in there because you're around a whole bunch of people. Okay? A whole bunch of people who don't like to follow rules, made up by somebody somewhere else. That's the thing. I don't really blame people that have been incarcerated or whatever, because a lot of times they're the person that's really motivated to get something done. You get a lot of people who are just very, very docile. They don't care what's happening as long as it's not happening to them. These ideas aren't working, right? I mean, there's a lot of people struggling in this world. Homelessness is an epidemic, and the other epidemic that we're not really even talking about is when people are choosing to exit this life experience prematurely. It's just words you can't say. I think they'll block your videos. It's because it's so sickening. What even children are choosing to self-exit. We're doing something inherently wrong when children don't want to live here. We're not protecting innocence. We're not holding people accountable for their crimes against others. If we don't do something soon, this place is going to fall into a complete dystopia. A hell. A living hell right here on earth. And there's already people experiencing it that way. There's already people experiencing what I can feel is heaven right now because of what I know I can support and what I know that I can do and the choices that I've made for me. I know that others are experiencing hell right here, right now, because they're aligning their lives to what the idols and the advertising from a culture being shaped by television programming. Right? These things are engineered in a way that makes for the conditions that we're experiencing. Every picture, like on your screen right there, every picture is compiled of many pixels, and when each pixel is shaped or colored in or functioning in a certain way, it makes for a whole picture. It's all these things. How do you wake up? How do you sleep? How do you brush your teeth? How do you maintain your health? What do you eat? What do you think about? What do you watch as entertainment? What are you supporting in your life? All of these things that we do, they form the life that we're experiencing. And when we start reshaping all of these pixels in a way to align with what makes sense and what aligns with nature, we're going to have a much better experience of life. It's cause and effect. We have to focus on what we want. What do you want? What do you want in your life? For me, I want health and happiness and peace and abundance. And that's what I want to experience in my life. So if I can be aware often of how I'm making my choices, I can create those things in my life, in which I have. I like waking up to who I am every day. I make a lot of friends. I'm not mad at anybody, and I'm not giving people reasons to be mad at me. Well, actually, I'm giving them a lot of reasons, I guess, because I I've received death threats, and I've received really, really um, like attacks, basically. You know, and thankfully the attacks have been digital, but people are really, really set in their ways on some things, and when you challenge an idea that they hold dearly, they they sometimes don't know how to handle that. So anyway, um, time out, time out. Let's get down to some root issues. Let's start with honoring free will, right? And you have free will, and I have free will, and everybody has free will for themselves. You control you, and if somebody has a good idea, you can choose voluntarily to support it, or if it's a stupid idea, you can choose to not listen to that person ever again. Right? And it's not because 51% of the 20% who vote can dictate a leader for you, but they are creating a leader for the public, the people who want to be governed, and they want to be um, shown how to live and exactly what to support, and they do that by party affiliation. It's okay, but we have to remember that it is by the consent of the governed that the government holds any power. And if you do not consent to be governed, and you are operating in your free will, and you are not harming others, we need to be left alone. You need to leave other people to make their choices for them, as long as they are not harming others. Right? Thanks for watching. Share and like and subscribe and do all the things that these digital platforms uh, require, so that way content can be seen. And anyway, yeah, thanks.